How come you don't laugh none? Ain't you got something to make you just smile?
My sister, and I ain't seen her in years.
You know, if you ain't gonna laugh, you need to sell your funny bone. Oh!
How come you so nice?
Don't know.
Maybe you too nice.
You seem like trouble.
I come here out of respect. But if there ain't none to get, there sure ain't none to give.
Oh, sweet and loving God.
Hello everyone and welcome to another movie review. I am happy that you can join me today. If you are new to this channel, welcome. Click the subscribe button below for future notifications and updates. Click the like button and share this content with other movie fans. So I haven't been watching movies lately because in the middle of the month I got sick, had to stay in bed for a few days. Then after I got my energy back, I left New York City, took a Christmas vacation to Belize to spend some time with some of my family. So now that I'm back home in New York City, I have a lot of movies I need to see. So the movies on my list are Wonka, Aquaman 2, Ferrari, Maestro, and Rebel Moon. This evening, I saw the first movie on my Christmas list, The Color Purple. I decided to see that first because it seemed like the most melancholy out of every movie on my Christmas list. So let's get into it. The Color Purple is a musical drama. It clocks in at 2 hours, 20 minutes. It was released in theaters on Christmas Day, Monday, the 25th, and it was based on the Color Purple musical that was on Broadway, which was based on the novel by Alice Walker. Alice Walker happened to win the Pulitzer Prize for this novel. Since this is a popular story, I'm not going to go into details of the plot. In this film, Fantasia Barrino plays Celie, Danielle Brooks plays Sophia, and Taraji P. Henson plays Shug Avery. It was directed by Blitz Bazawule, and I think he got the job because he worked on Beyonce's visual album Black is King. Prior to that, he was a rapper and music producer in Ghana, I believe. I am going to go ahead and share my score with you guys. I'm giving this film 3 out of 5 stars. This was a difficult film to grade because watched a movie fan um, score this film. She mentioned that she actually walked out of the movie theater in the middle of the movie. I also read a critic from the New York Times. After I saw the movie, I read some more reviews from critics and from moviegoers. So I just wanted to get a general consensus as to what people were thinking. Um, some people graded it too high. Some people graded this film too low. And taking everything into consideration, I think that 3 out of 5 stars is a fair score for this movie. I'll give you the good news first. It's a good-looking film. The cinematography is gorgeous. The choreography is very well executed. The sound is very good. Costume design, set design. The movie had a great cast of actors. So from that perspective, that's the good news about this film. The bad news, usually when movies get released, this time of the year. The filmmakers are hoping for um, some some recognition during the upcoming award season. And to me, this movie fell short in terms of the major awards that we're paying attention to. The biggest issue is the fast pacedness of the film. The fast pace does a huge disservice to the story. I actually cried um, towards the third act of the film, and I was asking myself, why am I crying? Am I crying because of the story? Or am I crying because of I was thinking about the 1989 film adaptation of The Color Purple? And so I came to the conclusion that I was crying because the 1989 the 1985 version of The Color Purple is a much better film. Back then, Roger Ebert, one of the greatest film critics of all time, wrote that The Color Purple was not a perfect film, but it had heart. This time around, this film is a gorgeous looking film with no heart because of the fast pacing. The 1985 film came with controversy based on what I've read. Spielberg, who directed the 1985 film, he said in interviews that one of the issues was some people thought that a film like that should have been directed by a black filmmaker. So the fact that he is a white Jewish man was an issue. Some people had issues with how Spielberg handled the lesbian relationship between Celie and Shug. He didn't explore it as deeply as you see in the novel. I have not read the novel. I did not watch the musical when it was on Broadway because I was not interested in a Broadway version of The Color Purple. I thought that, it wouldn't work, but it seemed as though that it did, and it was a hit with audiences. So I'm only going based on the 1985 film adaptation that I saw, and I've seen that movie many times. But overall, whatever issues that the 1985 version had, those issues no longer stand. Why? Because the 1985 version was nominated for 11 Oscars. And I was looking at the list of nominations. It was nominated for Best Picture. Whoopi Goldberg was nominated for Best Lead Actress. Margaret Avery, who played Shug, Oprah Winfrey, who played Sophia, they both got nominated for Best Supporting Actresses. It was nominated for Best Screenplay, Best Cinematography, Best Costume Design, Best Makeup, Best Original Score by Quincy Jones, Best Song, Miss Celie's Blues. And in the end, it won no Oscars. To this day, it is still one of the best films ever made, and it is actually on AFI's top 100 list. That's why I'm saying that whatever issues or controversy surrounding the film at that time no longer holds up. Um, and so going back to the movie that has been released, the musical film of The Color Purple, um, I can name you quite a few issues when it comes to the pacing getting in the way of telling a good story. Um, there's one scene, anyone who has seen The Color Purple, they'll know what I'm talking about. When Shug opens up the mailbox in the 1985 version, she sees a letter from Nettie, Celie's sister, and she gives it to Celie to read, and then it leads to Shug and Celie looking for whatever letters that she did not get because Mister kept collecting the letters and hiding them from Celie. So in the 85 version, it took them a while to find the letters because he hid them pretty well. However, in this version, they pretty much speeded up the process of Suge and Celie finding the letters. And so it seemed as though it was very easy for them to find the letters, when in actuality, it was not easy. And so that took away from the emotional the emotional impact of that scene. Another scene was actually the African sequence where Celie is reading Nettie's letters about her experience living in Africa. In Spielberg's film, it's kind of like a long sequence because it's taking her a while to read all these letters that she never got over the course of like 20 plus years. And in this movie, what I was really surprised about was you hired an African rapper, music producer to direct this film, and the African sequence was very short, surprisingly. And I was like, whoa, that was very fast, and it was like quick. So that was a surprise to me. Another issue that I had was there's a scene in Spielberg's movie where Suge is performing at a juke joint. And this was like daylight, and Celie and Sophia is at the juke joint watching Suge perform. And it's down the road from her father's church. So when she hears the gospel choir in the church singing, she stops singing and she looks at one of her musicians and she starts singing the song that she's hearing. And it brings back memories because Suge and her father are estranged. So she's walking towards the church, and everybody in the juke joint is following Suge, including her musicians. They're following her. And there's this scene where she's walking towards the church. She storms the church and she starts singing in the house, and the choir starts singing back up to Suge. And then her father is just standing there smiling at her. And she hugs her father and she says, "See, Daddy, sinners have soul too." And they finally kiss and make up. And Suge starts crying because holding her father, getting her father's approval, was something that she's been craving for a very long time. And so that scene in Spielberg's film packs an emotional punch that you just don't get this time around. Another thing that really bothered me, and again, this goes back to the fast pace of this film, the subplot of Sophia and Sophia's journey. That was rushed, and it's just really heartbreaking to see how the fast pace did a disservice to the story. Because when you think about 3 women getting nominated for Oscars back in 1985, it's like I cannot see anybody, any actress or actor getting nominated for this version of The Color Purple because of the fact that the fast pace of the story just doesn't work. And it's like you're not giving the actors the room to do their job, because these are great actors, okay? Like, it's a great cast. You know what I'm saying? So I have to say that the casting director did their job when it comes to this story. And it's just one big letdown because it's like the director did not let the actors enough room for them to shine, to the point where you can say, okay, we need to give these people Oscar nominations, which is so unfortunate, and it's really heartbreaking to see how fast paced this movie is, and it gets in the way of the story. So I don't know if this movie is going to get as many nominations as Spielberg's film, but I do predict that it might get nominated for cinematography, sound, costume, production design. So those four nominations, I think it can actually get nominated in those four categories. But other than that, I just don't see any actor or actress getting nominated for this film. The direction got in the way, the editing got in the way, and it's just um I really wanted to embrace this film wholeheartedly, but I just can't. It seems to be a polarizing film. Like some people love it, and then some people hated it to the point where they just walked out of the film. So that's all for today, my friends. And I will see you next time with another movie review. So, anyway, take care and have fun at the movies.